What's up, guys? This is Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 7 match of the NCL, or the Mombasa City League. This week we are taking on Phil and his Wiltshire Wartortles. He's a very scary team consisting of Manaphy, Conkeldurr, Nidoqueen, Whimsicott, Bronzong, Tauros, Mega Aerodactyl, Goodra, Umbreon, Rotom, and Blacephalon. I was not expecting the Tauros or the Rotom, neither of which came. Again, I was really not expecting them. Blacephalon I've got some really cool tech for. Mega Aerodactyl I was definitely expecting, but I severely under-prepped for, and honestly, my team has a really bad matchup against Mega Aerodactyl in general. I didn't bring my best check to it, so we'll see about that later on in the season. Nidoqueen I'm a little bit scared of. Conkeldurr I'm very scared of. Conkeldurr is the league leader in kills itself, not by differential, but by kills. And Bronzong is something that I was expecting. We'll sort of scout out his moveset and see what he wants to do. Whimsicott I wasn't necessarily expecting. I thought he might bring like Umbreon or Manaphy instead of the Whimsicott. But Whimsicott is still there and it's doing things, I guess. So there you go. That's Whimsicott. Yeah, so if you haven't seen my team builder, you should check that out. We are a physically... No, I can't remember actually how much defensive investment we have on the Mew, but we're Colbur Berry Mew to eat a knockoff from the Conkeldurr and destroy it with a Psychic. We're Expert Belt, 3 attack Aurora Veil, Alolan Ninetales. We're physically defensive, Melodic. We are Assault Vest, Alolan Raticate. We are physically defensive, Calm Mind, mono attacking Sylveon, which can do a lot of work to his team, but he brought a team that's really hard for the Sylveon to be able to break through. And we brought a Dragonance, Dragonium Z, Kommo-o. Worthy to note, this is the last week that Sylveon will be on the team. I ended up dropping it for Nihilego, so keep an eye out for that in future weeks. As the trade deadline approaches at the end of next week, I figured it was time to make a change, and Nihilego actually added a little bit more speed-ish, something to outspeed base 100s, besides Mega Pinsir, kind of. It doesn't really matter, honestly. The speed doesn't necessarily matter because I have the base 60s covered with Alolan Sandslash anyways. But it offered the same, around the same level of special defense, and it gave me 2 typings that I needed and got rid of a typing that I was doubling up on. So I thought that was worth it. It also brings just as much of a special presence as Sylveon does, and it's more scary of a sweeper. So I think that Nihilego is a good way to look at the team. Now, I'm going to lead with my Mew because I'm predicting the Bronzong lead, and I can taunt it from setting up rocks and then U-turn on it right afterwards. So, or set up my own rocks on it. So I'm going to lead with the Mew as he actually leads Nidoqueen. I'm just going to taunt anyways because I think he might go for rocks as he switches into Bronzong, which helps me out a little bit. Doesn't prevent him getting up a turn, but I do end up getting my rocks up. He crits me with the Gyro Ball. That crit matters a little bit in the long run because it means my Mew can't take repeated hits from the Conkeldurr like it could before. Gyro Ball was typically doing about 30-ish% to me, and so it was going to be a 4-hit KO, but the Gyro Ball turns it into a 3-hit KO for him. The Gyro Ball crit turns it into a 3-hit KO for him there. It also means that I can't live a knockoff even through the Colbur Berry now, so Mew is relatively useless this game throughout the rest of it, but I'm just going to U-turn out here now into my Melodic to get up my Flame Orb on his Gyro Ball, which is going to do absolutely no damage. And he's healing and he gets his taunt up, so now I'm predicting he's going to go for the rocks. I'm just going to Scald, see if I can get, cop a burn on this Bronzong. Not the end of the world there, I guess. I'm going to end up switching into my something now. Or no, sorry, I go for the Scald again on the Bronzong as he switches in Conkeldurr. Doesn't take a lot of damage, and I burn him with the Scald. I'm pretty sure he's Guts, that's why he switched it on Scald. There's really no reason not to. I could have predicted that, but I still just wanted more chip damage on the Bronzong, because it's the only thing stopping my Sylveon. At this point, besides the Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen's actually stopping my Sylveon relatively well as well. So now I'm going to just keep Scalding the Conkeldurr, see what he wants to go for here. His Drain Punch is doing quite a bit of damage. The burn is not helping my case, let's be real here. Honestly, Flame Orb, Marvel Skill is... The downside is that you're taking the chip damage every time, and now I have to recover because his Drain Punch is doing that much damage, and he's just healing over and over again. So I have to recover, and I have to stay at a relatively healthy amount of HP, but I can't anymore because his Drain Punch is doing too much and he's healing. So I have to switch here. I am going to switch into Sylveon as he actually opts to knock off here, knowing that I had to either had to switch or stay in and play his game. So my leftovers are gone, which really sucks, and Bronzong comes in on the Hyper Voice. Again, Bronzong covers the Conkeldurr so well. It covers it really well. Gyro Ball is doing a lot of damage to me. I get a Wish Off. Luckily, I'm Bulletproof Kommo-o, so I can come in on this Gyro Ball here, and it's going to do no damage to me. He actually opts to HP Electric, predicting the Melodic switch in. And now I can get a Dragon Dance off, see if he's going to... sorry, I shouldn't have said that's HP Electric. We find out it's HP Electric later, but he opts to Hidden Power with an unknown Hidden Power. Who knows? It could have been HP Rock. I don't know. It could be HP Rock for all I know, actually. It could be HP Rock for the Mega Pinsir. Who knows? But he opts to show off his last move, which is Toxic. And Toxic is actually going to be the move that loses us the game here, I think. In general, him having Toxic on the Bronzong is really bad for my Kommo-o. Otherwise, this was free setup fodder for my Kommo-o if he didn't have the Toxic. Or if I was Lumberry, maybe. I could have opted to be Lumberry with a different coverage move, but I'm not. I only have 3 moves to play with. I ran into 4 move slot syndrome with Kommo-o this week, and unfortunately, Drain Punch isn't going to be doing enough at +1 to him. I do outspeed his entire team except for Scarf Blacephalon, but I'm just going to Drain Punch now on the Nidoqueen, and we'll see that it's defensive Nidoqueen. This thing is not eating a Z Outrage, which is what I'm going to go for here, just to claim a kill on the Nidoqueen. It just made sense for me to just take out the Nidoqueen. It was stopping Sylveon still. And he's going to opt to bring in Blacephalon now. Now, this seemed really weird to me because the best thing this can do is like Will-O-Wisp, but I'm already statused, so HP Ice maybe if he's Scarfed, which won't kill me. And if he's Specs, then he's not killing me either. I think he doesn't know my coverage options here, right? So he could have potentially just lost the game to me with the right coverage. Unfortunately, I don't have perfect coverage for his team. I needed Dragon coverage to hit the Goodra. I needed Fighting coverage. I needed Dual Stab coverage, and then I needed either Ice Punch or Earthquake. And Ice Punch I opted to go with to be able to hit the Whimsicott. Otherwise, I just wasn't going to be able to deal with that. And if I had Earthquake, I could have just stayed in on Blacephalon here because he can't touch me. But that's not what it's going to be. And instead, I'm actually going to opt to switch out here because I need to lock myself into Outrage to kill this, which gives Whimsicott a free switch in, and then I sack my Kommo-o for no reason. So instead, what I'm going to do is double into my Raticate, which is my play. My Raticate was designed to check this Blacephalon, and he actually opts to Shadow Ball, which was really... I don't know why he opted to Shadow Ball there. Maybe he was predicting my switch, but Shadow Ball doesn't affect Bulletproof. So if I had Earthquake, this thing was dying 100%, and there was nothing he could do about it. He was just going to do no damage to my Kommo-o and like sack Blacephalon for no reason. It was weird to me. Very weird. Either way, Raticate's in now. Blacephalon does nothing, and I can Pursuit Trap this thing, as he does opt to switch it out, and I kill the Blacephalon with Alolan Raticate. Alolan Raticate's a Lord. He brings in the Whimsicott here. I'm not actually scared of a Moonblast, as he because I'm Assault Vest, so I'm going to live in the Moonblast. He opts to Leech Seed me, and because I'm a Dark type, I'm immune to his Prankster Leech Seed, so I get to U-turn out here. This game is looking really solid for me now. Whimsicott's chipped. The Bronzong is relatively chipped. What's the Bronzong at? Hello? I can't see what the Bronzong's at yet. Conkeldurr is relatively chipped as well. Mega Aerodactyl is the only threat that I see that's pressing to my team still. I do have a lot of ways to deal with Conkeldurr still with my 6 mons that I have alive. So I'm going to opt to bring in my Alolan Ninetales here. And I kind of misplayed here, thinking that he would want to switch out. So I go for the Aurora Veil, and he actually opts to Defog on me, which is really bad. So because he opted to Defog there, if I had just killed this Whimsicott with Freeze Dry, this game gets so much easier for me. But instead, I opted to set up the Aurora Veil, which is just going to either force him to Defog or switch on the next turn. And so now I'm going to Freeze Dry on the Bronzong switch, which is, again, really bad. I do have Dark Pulse for the Bronzong, but I couldn't catch it switching on the Whimsicott, so I'm going to go into my Melodic. I needed to get my Melodic to be able to heal up to take on the Conkeldurr, and I realized that Mega Arrow actually just beats me if my Melodic's low. So I needed to recover on this thing, and I actually recover on the Toxic play, which is really solid for me. I was surprised that he didn't go for Gyro Ball there. It made a lot of sense to me that he would do that, but in comes the Conkeldurr on my recover. I'm actually just going to switch into my Mew on the Conk now. As he Drain Punches, it's not doing a lot, especially behind Veil, and Psychic is going to threaten this thing out. So I opt to Psychic this time as the Bronzong comes in now and eats that for breakfast. It does nothing. I can just U-turn on the Bronzong again. I'm expecting him to get up Rocks again. As I go into my Melodic again, I can get up another Recover, as he actually opts to HP, and we figure out that this is HP Electric now when it does super effective damage to my Melodic. So likely HP Electric to pick off the Pinsir from low if he didn't want to waste a Gyro Ball on it. And for the Melodic, he really couldn't touch the Melodic. Honestly, HP Electric seems very strange to me against my team. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But maybe he just didn't have a better move slot there. I don't know. It's worthy to note as well, this is my first of potentially 3 matches with Phil. We're guaranteed to play twice. So he probably didn't want to let on to all of his building tactics against me the first time, especially since the second time could be a match right before we play in play. I think it's highly likely that I end up playing Phil in the first round of playoffs at this point. So we're going to have 2 back-to-back matches essentially in Week 12 and the playoffs, and I think Week 12 is probably just going to be a meme, depending on if we're locked in or not, and then playoffs is going to be the serious match. But HP Electric, it's weird. It's weird. So I'm going to get another recover off, as I think he gets a free switch into something here. Free switch into the Whimsicott, actually, which pressures my Melodic out, which is a good play on his part. I'm actually going to opt to go into my Alolan Raticate here to tank the Leech Seed, and the Energy Ball isn't doing anything to my Assault Vest. Moonblast actually isn't killing me because I'm Assault Vest, and I get to knock off his Metal Plate here. I'm going to opt to sack my Raticate here to his Energy Ball. I could have... So, Energy Ball was also a really bad play there on Phil's part, because I could have switched into Kommo-o and eaten the Energy Ball for free again. So he brought a team that was extremely weak to bulletproof Kommo-o, and he's not going to make that mistake the second time. I guarantee he's not going to make that mistake the second time. But Energy Ball is such a bad play there, because I could have gone into Kommo-o for free on the Energy Ball. It wasn't free, because I thought he might Moonblast, and Kommo-o still has some usefulness left in this game. But Energy Ball just, it's so weird, man. Moonblast was always the play there. Like, Energy Ball is just, I don't know. So weird. So weird. Like, my Melodic's not taking that hit, so Moonblast was even going to hit my Sylveon better. I don't know. I'm going to opt to go into my Alolan Ninetales here and just be able to revenge kill this thing. I'm actually going to predict the Bronzong to come in this time, and I'm going to get a big Expert Belt Dark Pulse off. It's not going to 2-hit KO him, unfortunately, because he's very specially defensive. But I get my Kommo-o in on his Gyro Ball. Again, free switch into Kommo-o. And I'm going to be able to Dragon Dance again, as he's going to double into the Whimsicott this time. Now, I get an Ice Punch off on the Whimsicott here. I could Ice Punch on the Whimsicott here. And honestly, the way that the game's going, I did not need Ice Punch this game anymore. Earthquake would have been absolutely the better option, the way that this game has gone. However, I didn't know that it was going to go this way in prep. So I'm going to Drain Punch on him, because it's actually going to kill, and I'm going to get some HP back and be able to live through the Toxic, potentially. For at least another turn, getting 6% back. It's at least going to cancel out the hail damage. I'm going to die, and honestly, I was a little bit scared, because that Kinkeldurr comes in, and it's 100% Mach Punching. It can actually finally kill my Kommo-o with the Mach Punch, which really sucks. So I have to go into Sylveon here to eat the Mach Punch, and he gets a high roll on the Mach Punch. A little bit of a high roll there. And unfortunately, it's a roll to kill me with the next one, but the way that Showdown shows things, it's not a roll. The way that Showdown show things. Another Mach Punch. The way that the Showdown game is that he did 15.7 with the first roll, and then he did 13.0 with the second roll. So Showdown being weird just screwed with my head, and I thought that I had a chance to live that, but I actually didn't. The min roll was 13.7, so Sylveon was not living that Mach Punch, unfortunately. Hyper Voice would have taken this thing out. I don't know what I could have done there. He switched into Bronzong on the Sylveon. I probably could have just started setting up Calm Minds at that point. Throw up a Wish to eat the Gyro Ball and be able to set up Calm Minds. And once he was out of Gyro Balls with the Bronzong, he really couldn't touch my Sylveon at that point, besides, like, I don't know, coverage on something else. But Sylveon outsped most of his coverage mons that could have beaten it. So, anyways, Sylveon goes down to the Kinkeldurr. This game's looking a little bit more scary. I have to go Mew now, because Melodic can't eat anything, and he actually opts to make a really ballsy play. He could have sacked off the Kinkeldurr there to my Psychic, which he's seen, but instead of going to Bronzong like he did the last time, I'm going to show off the U-turn. He's seen my whole set, so Bronzong is a very safe click. Bronzong is a very safe switch-in for him, considering that Kinkeldurr revenge kills Kommo-o and Alolan Ninetales with Mach Punch at this point, and it can outstall my Melodic with Drain Punches. I really thought that that was a very weird play. Bronzong seemed completely free to me for him to switch it on Mew. I predicted him to go into Bronzong and a U-turn. Maybe it was a bad play on my part. It could be. I thought it was a smart play, to be honest with you, because Bronzong seemed so free. But I opt to U-turn there, which is not going to do anything. And instead of being able to kill the Kinkeldurr, I'm actually going to have to sack off my Kommo-o here. Or, sorry, I go to Alolan Ninetales to eat the knockoff that he obviously opted to go for. He's going to be able to kill me with a Mach Punch now, and I don't understand why he's not going to do it. I'm just going to go for the Moonblast here, because it was going to do the most to the Kinkeldurr. And he brings in Bronzong here, which is now going to die to the Dark Pulse, despite the fact that I don't have my Expert Belt anymore. So, very strange plays. Honestly, it was really weird. He could have either saved differential or lost earlier. Very strange. Mega Aerodactyl is going to come in here. I feel like Melodic can take this on. So, I'm actually going to go into my Melodic, I'm going to sack off the Kommo-o to get a free switch into my Melodic, as he's going to show off the Iron Head and kill off my Kommo-o. I figured it was probably going to have some coverage like that. Bringing my Melodic here, he's going to have the Thunderfang for me. That was the best thing he could have for my Melodic, and it's doing about what I expect for Adamant, which he can run against my team. My team is relatively slow, so he can easily run Adamant Mega Arrow. I should be able to out-recover stall these, and if I get the Scald Burn here, it's over. For the arrow, at least. No, actually, it would be over entirely. But I don't get the Scald Burn. It's doing less than I thought, and he actually flinches me here with the Thunderfang on my recover turn. So I died of the burn damage, which it's a passive death to myself, so nobody gets the credit for that kill, which is kind of nice, but at the same time, not really. I'm really disappointed in that, actually. The flinch wins him the game here. I can't do anything about Mega Aerodactyl with my last 2 mons, and so Mega Aerodactyl is just going to clean up the game, and I'm just going to let it play out, actually. But that flinch wins him the game. I could have possibly been able to out-recover the Thunderfangs and be able to take him out with a Scald, and then from there, all I had to do was sack off either the Melodic or the Alolan Ninetales to the Conkeldurr, bring in Mew, which was living a Mach Punch at that range, and be able to kill the Conkeldurr with a Psychic. So, we won that game if we didn't get flinched. Unfortunately, we did get flinched, and there's not much you can do about that, and Phil ends up winning the game 2-0, so we fall to 5-2 plus 14, still not a horrible record. It's actually a really good record. Just means that our race against Ben is that much more in Ben's favor now that he's broken the tie once again with us. He's 6-1 and we're now 5-2. Phil is also 5-2, and he doesn't have as good of a differential at us. So if we were talking about full league standings, we're actually sitting slightly higher than him. But in terms of the head-to-head, it's really bad for us. So we do end up taking the L. Next week we play Magic and the Snow Point City Blizzards. That is a match that I absolutely desperately need to win to be able to continue my run towards a playoff spot. It's likely that I'm going to make playoffs regardless, but there's also potential that I won't. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes, and I will see you guys for week 8.